Good morning, everybody. January 18. It's a Monday. It's a new week. We're about 3 weeks into the new year. There's a lot going on. Where to begin? Where do we always begin? We begin with $100,000 Haircutter. We do the daily reading here, and we'll go there in just a moment. It is week 3 in my 8-week series on selling behind the haircutting chair. So we're going to get into a thought, a concept related to selling behind the chair. We're going to talk about that. Of course, we've got technique of the week, and this one is one of my favorites because it works. I mean, they all work, but this one works crazy good. So welcome in. Pull up a chair, sit down for a few minutes. Welcome to the topic of the week video. Welcome to, as I said, week 3 of 8 in the selling series for 2021, kicking it off with a focus on building business through driving sales. $100,000 Haircutter, that's where we always start. It's a bit of a tradition with us here. One idea a day, every single day, 365 days. You got a copy of the book, don't you? Well, you better get a copy of the book. IvanZoot.com, you know that. Here we go, January 18, day 18, 347 days remaining in the year at this point in time. We're counting them down every single day. Tip of the day, open early. Experiment with shop hours. There's another day here that somewhere that talks about stay open late. Of course, you knew that, but experiment with shop hours. Opening early at least one day per week opens you up to a whole new demographic of customers. Some people may need to be at work before your regular start time and would love to pop in early. Seniors love early hours. So do people catching the train on the way into the city. I've always had this notion of opening up a shop near a train station on a spur line coming into the city so that you could catch the early morning folks and then the commuters on the way back home on either end of the day. I've just thought that was a fabulous idea. You might find the early crowd to be more lucrative and shift your whole schedule if mornings work out for you and your community and your target demographic of customers. You might realize it's time to split shift the shop. A morning crew and an evening crew, double up your stations. You know, a lot of people want to open a second shop, and I tell people do not open a second shop until you can prove to me, that you've maximized your financial capability of shop number 1. Until you're squeezing every dollar out of that first shop, it's crazy to think you want to open a second one. But it starts with exploring the expansion of hours, early, of course, and late. That's your $100,000 Haircutter tip of the day. Just expanding what you're doing. Doing it onward, upward, bigger, and better. Thank you. That is our $100,000 Haircutter tip of the day. We're going to get into week 3 in our 8-week, 8-part series on selling in the shop. And today we want to talk about selling through listening. You know, there's a notion out there, there's the old, I think, stereotype of a salesperson being a talker, a salesperson who's constantly putting out information. And I think a lot of that sales role today has been replaced by YouTube, like you're watching this, or the internet in general, other channels of communication that allow the prospect, allow the customer to gather lots and lots of information before they get anywhere near that salesperson. We've said this before, and we'll continue to talk about the fact that when we talked last week about information asymmetry, the seller's holding all the info and the buyer's taking in all that info, and that we've got our way round to what we now call information parity, where we have equal access to information, or even in some cases, asymmetry moving the other direction, that the customers potentially have access to more information than even the sellers do. That notion of a salesperson as a talker, I think, is somewhat antiquated and outdated. And really, progressive sales today, I think, comes from a greater focus on the salesperson being a listener, a salesperson asking questions and then being quiet and listening for the answers coming from his customers, who will provide him, if he's listening and patient, with the things he needs to know, to offer the things they want to know, to move them closer to the completion of that transaction, whatever that transaction is. You know, jokingly, when I've had situations in the past where people can sniff out a salesperson, they know you're a well, what are you selling? I love that. And in my day, I got that as a salesperson in some roles. What are you selling? You know, they throw up their defenses right away. What are you selling? And you know what my favorite response to that was? Because it not only diffused the situation, it turned it into a bit of a joke, but it really flipped the script in the direction that I hoped to go. What are you selling? My response was, what do you want to buy? And I would smile just like that. What do you want to buy? All of a sudden, the person on the other end of this conversation would laugh, smile, and chuckle. And sometimes be, that's great. You know what? I don't want to push. I don't want to put round pegs in square holes. I want people to want what I have, and I want people to have what I want, and I want people to want what they want, and I want people to have what they want. And if I can be the conduit, the salesperson or the channel that makes that happen, all the better. You know, there's a famous book out there that tells the story of the Marshall Field Company. You know, I'm a lifelong Chicagoan. And of course, now they've been folded into Macy's, but Marshall Fields was a staple in the retail landscape of the Chicago metropolitan area for many, many, many years. And the story of Marshall Fields, not only a biography of Marshall Field himself, but the story of his business is called, anybody know this? It's a book. You can buy it online. The book is called Give the Lady What She Wants. What an incredible theme, if you will. What an incredible byline. What an incredible foundation on which to build one's selling efforts. You know, little gender bias there, a little maybe sexist from back in the day. Give the lady what she wants. We can tweak it and adapt it to give the customer what they want. It's going to make the process really easy. But we do that by listening. It's all about selling through listening. You know, there's a sales guru that I've followed for many years, a guy that I find fascinating, educational, and informational. Have you ever heard of this guy? His name is Jeffrey Gitmer. And based in, I think, Charlotte, North Carolina, wrote a column for the Charlotte Observer for many years. A well-published author. His sales Bible is a staple of aspiring salespeople for many, many years. He's got the Little Red Book of Sales. I've got a whole bookshelf upstairs with a collection of Jeffrey Gitmer's books and things. I've been following him, listening to him, taking his advice for a long, long time. And a number of years back, he was coming to speak near where my office was. I had seen it online. I'd seen an ad or a promotional announcement about the fact that he was coming to speak live, and I wanted to go see him. And I called my boss and I said, hey, and he followed Gitmer. I said, Gitmer's coming to town. I want to go see Gitmer. You want to go with me? You want to go see Gitmer? And can I use my expense account to pay for the ticket? And my boss said, you know what, buy 2 tickets, I'll go with you, which was cool. My boss understood the importance of ongoing education and motivation and things like that, and he knew this guy, and he wanted to see him too. So we went together. At the appointed day, my boss and I found ourselves in a hotel, in a meeting room, on a chair, feet away from and listening to somebody we had looked up to, admired, and learned a great deal from, that Jeffrey Gitmer guy. Look him up, Gitomer. And we were there, and of course I'm there with my boss. I'm on my good behavior. I'm dressed nicely, but I got a legal pad and I got a pen, and I'm taking notes, because you don't go attend something like that without taking notes. And at one point, he challenged the salespeople in the room, and this was a room filled with salespeople who wanted to be better salespeople and better performers in their sales jobs. He challenged us. He said, write down on the piece of paper that you've got in front of you what you believe to be the most important question you can ask your customer. And this was such an eye-opening lesson for me in perspectives on sales. I'm sitting next to my boss. I'm writing on my legal pad, and out of the corner of my eye, I'm looking over on his pad. And on my pad, I had written the question. He said, what's the most important question you can ask your customer? I had written the question, how can I help you build your business? How can I help you build your business? That was my question. What I believe to be the most important question you can ask a prospect. Now, you got to remember, at this point, I'm not employed as a hairstylist. I'm employed in a sales role for a beauty and barber product manufacturer. How can I help you build your business? Because we were meeting with dealers and distributors and chains and salons and beauty schools and barber schools, stuff like that. How can I help you grow your business? And I looked over at my boss's pad, and a traditionally trained salesperson, a sales manager, somebody who was under pressure to deliver the numbers daily, weekly, monthly for the company, quarterly, you name it. And I looked over at his pad, and on his pad he had written, how many do you want to order? How many do you want to order? ABC. The ABC mentality of always be closing. Always be closing. Looking for the sale, asking for the sale, asking for the order. Those are such dyed-in-the-wool, old-school, established sales behaviors that people of his generation and people of his training background were told repeatedly, pounded into them. And there's no question my boss learned it. And he was a closer. Always be closing. I admired some of those skills in him for many, many years. So that was such a huge eye-opener for me in the difference of approaches in salespeople. And I think especially in the beauty industry behind the chair, you know, I can tell you when I used to sell blow dryers, people would ask all the time about quiet blow dryers because they couldn't hear their customer. I think these were cosmetology and barber professionals who understood the importance of listening to their customer. Whether they had asked a question that prompted their conversation or whether it was just the continuing dialogue of the visit, they wanted to hear because they understood that hearing their customer was important. What do you have in a quiet blow dryer so I can hear my customers? Really, selling by asking questions has a few foundational ideas that I want to share. You know, in my family, we used to play a game in the car. When my wife and I and the boys would travel on trips and things when they were kids, we used to play a game called I'm Thinking Of. It was kind of a version of 20 questions. And you would say, I'm thinking of a person, or I'm thinking of a place, or I'm thinking of a thing. And then we would rotate around in the car asking questions. And you were not allowed to ask specific, like proper questions, but you had to ask questions. For instance, I'm thinking about a person. And you couldn't ask yes or no questions. It had to be, is this person, or I'm sorry, you only asked yes or no questions. Is this person a guy? Couldn't ask male or female. Is this person a guy? Male. Is this person related to us? Is this person younger or older than dad? Questions like that. And through this questioning process, we worked our way down to what this answer was, what we had picked. And, you know, it was fascinating because, you know, we were all a creative bunch. And, boy, we came up with some interesting things that to this day we still laugh about when we remember some of these I'm Thinking Of games that we played in the car. But I think it was a great tool for training curiosity, good question asking, and the process of using asking questions to divine information, to get to something. It was a great game to play. Perhaps a great game for you and your salon or barbershop team at a meeting at some point. But what I also want to focus on here is when asking questions, avoiding what we call say no questions. Contrary to the game we were playing, a say no question is any question that can be answered with the word no. Do you want to buy a bottle of shampoo? No. Do you want to rebook your appointment? No. See how tough that is? When you ask a yes or no, a say no question, you make it very easy for the prospect, the customer, to say no and to completely shut down, turn off, and close out the exchange, the dialogue, the conversation. It's done. It's over. You're finished. Want to buy some of that? Nope. What else is there to say? Except come up with another question. Avoiding a say no question is done by asking what we call open-ended, thought-provoking questions designed to elicit information from your customer. Questions that start with phrases like these. What do you think about? Finish your sentence. How do you want to? Finish the sentence. When do you? Which do you? Where do you? How about you? Asking these open-ended questions that are designed to create conversation. So let's finish some of those and give you an idea what they sound like. What do you think about coming back in 4 weeks? Is that soon or is that about right? for a shorter haircut like this? How do you want to do your hair in the morning? How much time do you want to spend on your hair in the morning? Where do you normally do your hair? You do it in the bathroom? You do it out of the bathroom? What does your routine look like in the morning? Which do you prefer? Do you like a gel that you put in your hand? Or do you like something that you spray on your hair? And why? These are examples of questions related to hair and hair styling and hair visits and things like that are designed to provoke conversation that will get your customer to share information. An important thing to remember about our interaction with our customers, and I think it relates to the selling through listening, is the idea that number one, we have a captive audience. When we serve a customer behind the chair, we might have 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, depending on how quickly we work and the way we schedule our book. We have a client who is with us for a period of time who is not going anywhere. They're fixed, they're planted, they're sitting, they're together and connected with us. We need to find ways to use that time in a discovery process to gain information so that we're better suited to make suggestions and offers that are more targeted and appropriate for our customers. They're a captive audience. And the other side of being a captive audience is remembering they came to us. We're not standing on a street corner dragging people into a building. They came to us. They might have walked in. They came to us. They might have called in. They approached us. They might have scheduled online. They're choosing to come to us. It changes the dynamic of that sales situation quite a bit. They've sought us out and willingly agreed to participate in this exchange. We're not attacking people randomly on the street. It wouldn't be the way to build business. Doesn't really work. But they came to us, and that puts that dynamic. They're seeking help. They're seeking assistance. They're seeking products, and they're seeking services. They're making it so much easier for us from the get-go. So this is really selling through listening. A lot of conversation here on asking questions and putting yourself in a consultative position as opposed to thinking you are in a role of providing, spewing, distributing information. You're really sponging. You're taking in information. Now, I want to move on to the technique of the week. We love the technique of the week. The technique of the week is designed to be a selling tactic or technique that you can put into use at the end of this video, meaning immediately, that you can use right away, right now, to build and grow your business behind the chair. Something you can do with your next customer and every customer after that to build and grow business. Of course, we're going to be asking a question because we're listening and we're trying to elicit information. Now, I know that what I'm going to share can be thought of as a say no question. However, if you listen to it carefully, I think you'll realize that while you can answer yes or no, you also tend to provide additional information. And through that notion of asking and listening, I think it's an appropriate technique of the week to share this week. And the tactic is the question, simply, 3 words, is one enough? Is one enough? Here's how it works. Anytime anyone ever buys anything from you, ask the simple question, hey, Clipper Guy Brushless Shave Cream, is one enough? They're already buying it. They've taken it, they've put it on the counter, you've recommended or suggested it, whatever. Transaction is happening. They are buying. Shave cream right there, boom. Is one enough? Simple question. Back in the day in my shop, we had this printed on file folder labels. They were stuck on the back of the computer monitor facing the front desk, not facing the customer, but facing the desk person. They were stuck inside the drawers of our styling stations, where every time you open the station, you saw that little reminder to ask that little question, is one enough? And here's the idea. Never, ever, ever in the history of sales, anytime anyone ever bought anything, if a salesperson asked the question, hey, is one enough? Never once ever has someone changed their mind about the initial purchase. But more importantly, anytime anyone ever asks that question, is one enough? The customer responds with an answer that provides information. that almost in every case results in sales going up. Let's try it out. Let's hear what it sounds like. Clipper Guy Brushless Shave Cream. Got that for you. Is one enough? No, you know what? Give me a second one. I need one for my gym bag, or my car, or the boat, or the cottage up in Wisconsin, wherever. Is one enough? No. Give me a second one. Sales just went up. Sales just doubled. Double. Is one enough? Yeah, I'm good. Just give me the one. Great. I still made a sale. Yeah, I'm good. Give me the one. I got my sale. Shave cream going out the door. Is one enough? Yeah, you know what? One's good, but give me the bigger one. They just purchased a larger size. Sales just went up. Is one enough? Yeah, you know what? One's good, but do you have the conditioner that goes with that? Do you have the beard oil that goes with that? They bought the companion item. Sales just went up. Is one enough? Yeah, one's good, but do you have a travel size? I can have one for my suitcase for my traveling. Sales just went up. Is one enough? It's such a simple, innocuous, it's such a easy question, non-threatening, easy to ask, easy to answer. Every time anyone ever buys anything, ask the simple question, hey, is one enough? Yeah, I'm good. One's good. You got a sale. Is one enough? You know what? Give me a backup. I'm going to go through that pretty quick. Give me a second one. Sales just went up. And it's all about sales going up. That's why we're here. That's why we're talking. This has been week 3 of 8. There's 5 more to go. And I look forward to sharing principles related to selling, and of course the technique of the week, and of course the $100,000 hair cutter tip of the day every time we get together in this way. Get yourself a copy of the Professional Hair Cutter Pricing Playbook, the new book for 2021. We're still giving away free copies of 100 by 100 if you don't have one yet. On the website under free book offer, just pay shipping and handling. It's yours. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching again. We'll see you soon. Have a great day.